Welcome to the deep dive, and today we're going to be doing something a little different.
Oh,
We're going to be taking a deep dive into the career of Michelle Trachtenberg,
okay. Yeah.
and we've got a whole stack of articles, interviews, fan retrospectives,
Oh,
just all kinds of different sources about her
yeah.
career.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, I think so too, and what's interesting about her is she kind of spans multiple generations.
Hmm,
So whether you're a longtime fan of hers or just discovering her now, I think there's a lot to uncover.
I bet. And her career really provides a lens to see how female roles in Hollywood have evolved over the years.
Yeah, definitely. And speaking of evolution, I was really surprised to learn she actually started her career at just 3 years old.
3 years old, wow.
Yeah.
Commercials, modeling, that's an early start.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But it seems like it was more than just a passing phase for her,
Right.
because by the age of 9, she landed a role on The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
Oh, yeah, Pete and Pete. I remember that show.
Yeah, it was great.
But then her big break came just a year later with Harriet the Spy.
Oh, Harriet the Spy, such a classic.
I know.
I think every kid who saw that movie wanted to be Harriet, with her notebook and her curiosity.
Totally, totally. Sneaking around.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that, Harriet the Spy came out in the mid-90s when there weren't that many strong, independent female characters, especially for young girls.
Oh, for sure.
So she really stood out, and I think that's a big part of why that movie resonated with so many people.
Yeah, it was a different time. And also to portray that character at such a young age.
Right. I mean, to capture that vulnerability, that determination, it's impressive.
It really is. And all while balancing her acting career with her education. She was homeschooled while filming Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now that's a show that really had an impact.
I know, it's to watch it.
Me too. And Michelle joining the cast in season 5 as Dawn Summers, that was a bold move by the writers.
Yeah, introducing a new character that late in the show's run, it's risky.
It is. And, it wasn't without its controversy.
What do you mean?
Well, a lot of fans were initially resistant to the idea of Buffy having a sister.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Like, who is this new character and why is she here?
Right, right. But then when you saw Michelle's performance, she just brought so much depth to Dawn.
Oh, absolutely. She really captured that mix of teenage angst and fierce loyalty to her sister.
Definitely. And I think that's what ultimately won people over.
You're so right. It wasn't just the writing, though. Her performance was crucial in making Dawn more than just like the annoying little sister stereotype.
Right, more than a trope.
Exactly. You really felt for her, especially in those intense scenes where she's dealing with the realities of Buffy's life as a Slayer.
Oh, man. Yeah, like in the episode The Body, where Dawn is dealing with her mother's death.
Oh, I know. That episode was heartbreaking.
Oh, just gut-wrenching.
And Michelle's performance in that scene, wow, just incredible.
Really cemented her ability to handle those tough emotional scenes.
Yeah, for sure. But Dawn wasn't all angst and drama, though.
Yeah.
She also brought some much-needed comedic relief to the show.
Oh, absolutely, especially in her interactions with Spike.
Yes,
Yeah.
their dynamic was hilarious.
Oh, they had the best banter.
And those scenes really highlight Michelle's comedic timing.
Yeah, she could deliver a sarcastic line with the best of them.
She really could, and it showed that she wasn't afraid to play with different tones.
Right, not just taking herself too seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And after navigating the supernatural world of Sunnydale, Michelle then made this really interesting transition into the world of Gossip Girl.
Oh yeah, Gossip Girl. Quite a change of pace.
It was, and talk about playing a complex character.
Right.
I mean, Dawn was complex, but Georgina Sparks takes it to another level.
Oh, she was the ultimate wild card.
Every time she appeared on screen, you just knew things were about to get crazy.
And Michelle played that chaos with such a perfect mix of charm and mischief.
She did. She really owned that role.
I read somewhere that she had initially auditioned for the role of Blair Waldorf.
Really?
Yeah, but the creators loved her so much they created the character of Georgina just for her.
Wow. Talk about making an impression.
Right. And I think it speaks to her talent that they saw something special in her.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a testament to the writers that they recognized her unique qualities and were able to create a character that really allowed her to shine.
Yeah, she really made the most of that opportunity. And from that fake pregnancy to all of her constant scheming,
Yeah.
she kept us guessing.
Oh, for sure. She was always up to something.
But even with all of her manipulations, she still managed to make Georgina strangely relatable at times.
You're right. There were these glimpses of vulnerability, even moments of genuine affection.
Yeah, underneath all that scheming.
Exactly. And it's a testament to Michelle's skill as an actress that she could bring those nuances to such a larger-than-life character.
Absolutely. And as much as we could talk about Buffy and Gossip Girl all day, those are really just two pieces of a much larger puzzle.
That's right. And that's what makes exploring her career so interesting. She's not afraid to take on these diverse roles, to try new things, to push herself as an artist.
Well, let's dive into those other roles then, because I'm dying to know more about what she's done beyond those two shows,
Right.
like Eurotrip, Ice Princess, even some voice work.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot to unpack. Let's do it.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive, and
Yeah?
we're picking up right where we left off, talking all about Michelle Trachtenberg's career.
Yeah, and so far we've seen quite a range.
Oh, definitely.
You know, I think it's interesting how she's so willing to jump between genres,
Yeah.
teen dramas, comedies, voice acting. I think it reflects a larger trend in Hollywood,
What do you mean?
Well, it seems like there's been a shift away from, like, pigeonholing actors,
Okay.
especially for women.
Right, right. Yeah, I agree with that.
It used to be that if you were successful in one type of role, you were kind of stuck there.
Yeah, you were typecast.
Exactly. But Michelle, she's actively defied those expectations.
She really has. And speaking of defying expectations,
Yeah.
let's talk about Eurotrip.
Oh, Eurotrip. Classic.
Such a fun movie.
It really is. And Michelle's performance as Jenny was just hilarious.
So good. Oh, remember the Scotty doesn't know scene?
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Pure comedic gold.
That scene became such a cultural phenomenon.
It really did.
It's funny, though. Eurotrip was a big commercial success.
Yeah, it made a lot of money.
But it actually got some pretty mixed reviews from critics.
Really?
Yeah, some people found it kind of juvenile, but others really praised its humor and its heart.
That's interesting.
And it makes you think about, like, what drives Michelle's career choices,
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like it's always about getting critical acclaim or awards.
Right.
It's like she's drawn to projects that she just genuinely enjoys.
I think that's so important.
Yeah, it is. It really
To be
is.
passionate about your work.
It shows, and I think it's reflected in the diversity of her filmography.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, from Eurotrip to Ice Princess, talk about a range.
Ice Princess is such a feel-good movie.
It is. It's so charming. And Michelle, as Casey Carlisle, the physics whiz turned figure skater.
I love that she played a character who was so smart.
Me too. And Casey was such a relatable character for so many people.
Oh, golly.
I mean, who hasn't had that dream of pursuing a passion, even if it means going against the grain?
It's a great message, and Michelle really captured that determination and that joy of discovering something you love.
She did. And, it's interesting to think about how her career has kind of mirrored this larger trend in Hollywood.
What do you mean?
Well, we've seen this growing demand for more diverse stories, more complex characters and actors who are willing to, like, challenge the status quo.
And Michelle has been right there at the forefront of that.
Totally. She started out playing these characters that were strong and independent, but still fit into certain tropes.
Right.
But as her career has progressed, she's taken on roles that are much more nuanced and complex. They're more representative of the real experiences of women.
Yeah, and I think it's not just about the roles themselves,
Okay.
but it's also about the way that she approaches her performances.
Yeah. Yeah.
She brings this depth and this humanity to her characters.
Even the ones who are, like, seemingly villainous,
Exactly.
she never shies away from those complexities.
It makes her work so compelling to watch.
It really does, and I think that same commitment to authenticity that we see in her acting,
Yeah.
it extends beyond her work in Hollywood.
Right. We talked about her advocacy work a little earlier.
Yeah, and I think it's worth diving a little deeper into that aspect of her life.
Oh, for sure, because it's a crucial part of understanding who Michelle Trachtenberg is as a person.
It really is. It shows that she's not just about, fame or fortune.
Right.
She genuinely cares about making a difference in the world.
Yeah, she's clearly passionate about using her platform to speak out about issues that are important to her.
Like mental health awareness.
Yeah, and animal rights.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
she doesn't shy away from those tough conversations.
She's been really open about her own struggles with anxiety and depression.
Yeah, and she's used those experiences to advocate for better mental health resources.
Which I think is amazing.
It's so important to destigmatize those conversations.
Right, and it's admirable that she's willing to be so vulnerable and share her own struggles to help others.
It shows a real sense of empathy.
Yeah, and it's refreshing to see a celebrity who is so grounded and dedicated to making a positive impact.
I think it makes her even more relatable to her fans.
Totally. She's more than just an actress. She's a well-rounded individual who cares about the world.
She's a great role model.
So we talked about her acting career, her advocacy work, her willingness to push boundaries.
Hmm.
But what does it all add up to? What is it about Michelle Trachtenberg that makes her such a captivating figure, even all these years later?
That's a great question, and I think the answer lies in her authenticity.
Okay.
She's never tried to be anyone other than herself.
Right.
She's embraced her quirks, her humor, her intelligence.
Hmm.
She's never been afraid to speak her mind, whether it's about her own experiences or about issues that she cares about.
It's so true. And that authenticity shines through in everything she does.
It does, from her acting choices to her advocacy work.
It's what makes her relatable and inspiring.
I think it's also worth noting that her career has coincided with this period of significant change in Hollywood.
Okay.
We've seen this growing demand for diverse stories, for complex characters, for actors who are willing to challenge the status quo.
And she's been right there at the forefront of that change.
Absolutely. She's helped to pave the way for these more nuanced and realistic portrayals of women on screen.
Yeah.
It's been fascinating to trace her career trajectory and to see how she's navigated all of that.
I couldn't agree more.
So as we kind of wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
What aspect of her journey has kind of resonated most with you?
I think for me, it's her willingness to just embrace her individuality. She never tried to fit into a mold, and she's always been true to herself, both personally and professionally.
That's such a great point, and I think it's something that we can all learn from.
It is. It is.
It's a reminder that it's okay to be different, to be quirky, to be passionate about things that might not be mainstream.
Absolutely.
And as we head into the last part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to kind of explore how that commitment to authenticity has impacted her career choices and her overall legacy in the industry.
I'm excited to delve deeper into that. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll wrap up our exploration of Michelle Trachtenberg's remarkable career. And we are back for the final part of our deep dive into the career of Michelle Trachtenberg.
As we wrap up, I'm realizing just how much ground we've covered.
We have.
I mean, from her early days as a child star to Buffy, Gossip Girl, her advocacy work, producing, it's been quite a journey.
It has, and it's pretty amazing to see how her career really gives us a glimpse into how Hollywood has changed over the years.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting to think about how she navigated all the pressures of fame, especially as a young woman in an industry that can be so demanding.
Yeah, the early 2000s were a very different time for young actresses.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's inspiring to see how she not only survived that environment, but thrived.
You're right. It's like she never let the industry define her.
Exactly, and she was always in control of her own narrative.
Yeah, and I think her willingness to speak out about things she cared about,
Yeah.
even when it might not have been popular, it really shows how strong she is.
It does. Like with mental health awareness and animal rights, she really used her platform to advocate for things she believed in.
And it's a good reminder that actors are more than just faces on a screen,
Totally.
They're real people with values and beliefs, and they have the power to make a difference.
I think that's a key part of Michelle's legacy.
I agree.
She showed that it's possible to be successful in Hollywood and stay true to yourself.
Right, and use your influence for good.
As we've been talking about her career, I keep thinking about authenticity. It's something that shows up in every part of her career.
Absolutely. From her acting choices to her advocacy work, it's like this thread that connects everything.
And she has this way of connecting with people on such a real level.
It's true, whether she's playing a teenage slayer or a scheming socialite or talking about mental health, she brings this vulnerability and honesty that's just so compelling.
It makes her work so timeless,
Yeah. She's not just a product of one specific time or genre.
It's fascinating to think about what she might do next.
I know. She's already started producing.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if she started directing at some point.
I bet she'd be great at it.
Yeah, you can tell she's driven by this need to tell stories that matter.
And I have a feeling she's got a lot more stories to tell.
I think one of the biggest takeaways from our deep dive is that success isn't just about fame and fortune.
Yeah.
It's about staying true to your vision and using your talents to make a positive impact on the world.
And inspiring people along the way.
Exactly.
Well said. Michelle Trachtenberg's journey is a reminder to all of us to be ourselves and to be ambitious.
And to use our voices to stand up for what we believe in.
It's been such a pleasure exploring her career with you.
Me too. I have a whole new appreciation for her talent and her impact.
Me too. And to everyone listening, I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of Michelle Trachtenberg and that it's given you a fresh perspective on her work.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.